What's going on, everybody? This is Mind Body Connection with a book summary of my favorite book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. You don't need to work in sales to get some value from this book. This is a book that will benefit everyone. The reason this is my favorite book is because of the author, Og Mandino. He has an incredibly inspiring story. He was able to turn his life around from the absolute bottom to become a successful author and businessman. Og was a struggling insurance salesman with a growing drinking problem. His drinking problem got to the point where he lost his wife and daughter. They left him, and he also got fired from his job. He spent the next 2 years of his life being homeless and doing any odd job he could just to get a little bit of money to feed his drinking problem. Then one day he was walking by a pawn shop and he noticed a small handgun in the window. The gun had a price tag attached to it, $29. He reached into his pocket and pulled out all the money he had in the world, 3 $10 bills. He thought, there's the answer to my problems. I will end this life of misery. But just at that moment, he glanced across the street and saw the public library. Something compelled him to go inside, and when he walked inside, he found himself in a section on self-help, personal development, and success. He grabbed a book from the shelf and began reading. He went back every day until his thoughts and feelings began to change. He was able to kick his drinking habit and get his old job back. He then began to pursue his real passion in life, which was writing books. The first book of many was this one, The Greatest Salesman in the World. This book sold millions of copies around the world and is still selling today, almost 40 years after it was written. This is an incredibly inspiring story to me because if he can go from homeless to living his dreams, it takes away any excuse we can make about why we are not a success. Og's story gives this book tremendous credibility because you know that the principles he discusses in the book were the exact principles he used to turn his life around. The principles I'm referring to are known as the 10 Scrolls. These scrolls contain the wisdom and principles of the ages, and they are the reason this book sold millions of copies. The story of the greatest salesman in the world takes place in ancient Jerusalem. It starts out with Hafid, the camel boy. He wants to marry the girl of his dreams, but because he doesn't have any money, her father won't permit it. Hafid shares this with a wealthy businessman named Pathros. Pathros agrees to take Hafid under his wing and teach him the principles of the 10 Scrolls. Hafid is instructed to read each scroll 3 times a day for 30 days before he moves on to the next scroll. The idea is that the more he reads and thinks about the words in the scrolls, the more they will seep into his mind and begin to change his behavior. The first scroll is the scroll of habit. It starts out with these words, "Today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin which hath too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity." This scroll teaches us that our past is not our future, that we can begin right now, today, to begin to change our life going forward. The second scroll, "I will greet this day with love in my heart." It talks about that when you love yourself, you zealously inspect all things which enter your mind, body, and heart. It also tells us how to love others. It says to greet every person you meet with love in your heart. But when you have something positive to say, you shout it from the rooftops. When you want to criticize or complain, you keep it to yourself. The third scroll, "I will persist until I succeed." This scroll tells us to never give up, to stretch our efforts until they cry for mercy, that failure is not an option. The fourth scroll, "I'm nature's greatest miracle." This tells us that inside us, inside all of us, burns a flame to be more than what we are, that we can be the best version of ourselves. The fifth scroll, "I will live this day as if it is my last," reminds us that we can't waste moments of today worrying about the past or regretting the past. The past has its place, and your past is not a life sentence. Today is all we have, so we need to make today the best day we can make it. The sixth scroll, "I will master my emotions," teaches us that we are in control of how we feel. We must not let our emotions control our actions. We must force our actions to control our emotions. The seventh scroll, "I will laugh at the world," reminds us that we must not take ourselves too seriously, that we only have one life to live, so we must enjoy it. The eighth scroll, "I will multiply my value 100-fold." This scroll talks about the importance of setting goals, that we are here to grow into a mountain, not to shrink to a grain of sand. The ninth scroll, "I will act now." This scroll reminds us that only through action are our dreams and goals possible. The 10th scroll, "I will pray for guidance." This scroll isn't about any religion or praying to any particular god. It's about asking for guidance in our time of thought, and how if we want something bad enough, the universe will move out of the way so we can have it. After Hafid read each scroll 3 times per day for 30 days, he was able to master them and become incredibly wealthy and successful, so he was permitted to marry the girl of his dreams. I really hope you check out this book. I think it can touch your life in a positive way, and if you're interested in more book summaries, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for listening.